Coming at you from my vape room in Winter Garden, I'm Marino the Vape God. Today I'm going to talk to you about the Rock by Boulder. I was showing this dude a couple weeks ago at the Orlando Vape Expo. I was milling around looking at all the different stands, and this guy pulled me over to his, and he was advertising this product, and he said, "Do you guys sell the Juul?" I said, "Yeah, I do, and it treats us pretty good." And he said, "Well, you should sell this instead." And I said, "Buddy, why on earth should I sell that instead of the Juul?" And he said, "Because this is cheaper." And in my head, that is absolutely not what I wanted to hear. But I heard him out, I tried it out, and I'm not going to lie, this thing is genuinely impressive. Just because it costs less money doesn't mean it's a piece of crap, unlike most other things in vape. So this guy right here is a closed loop system, fancy words for pod based, that you refill the pod yourself. Very similar to the Soarin' Air, Soarin' Drop, both of those are really big right now. It's pretty easy, it's just got a little rubber plug right there, pretty difficult to see in the video, but it's not too hard to see in real life. This pod is very thickly wicked. It has a really big silica wick in it, which is nice. Makes it last for a good long while. Silica is actually a throwback to older style stuff. It doesn't hold up to high heat so well, but this is not a sub-ohm device. So it lasts for a really freaking long time. This thing can use regular vape juice like 70/30. It can use max VG. It can use salt nic. It can use thinner stuff without leaking. It can use CBD. Whatever you want. This thing can run it. It has slightly more open airflow than a lot of the other pod-based devices, which is really nice if you're trying to use it for regular juices and the like. The thing that impresses me the most about it is that the pod that I've been using right here, and I mean you can hardly tell, but I've been using this pod for 10 days, and it has not shown any signs of burning. I honestly, like, just by the looks of it, I'm going to get another 10 days out of it. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous for a pod-based device. Most of the other ones, they'll last, 3-5 days if you're really lucky. Like so far with the Soarin' Air, Soarin' Drop, while they're really sweet, really cool devices in a lot of ways, their pods just don't last very long. And that's kind of a drag. But this guy is not. It uses a button instead of auto draw. A little bit different, a little bit more like an evod style. I wish it was an auto draw. It probably could have been an auto draw, but it's not, and it's not the end of the world. They did do some neat stuff to juice-proof the innards of this device right up here. So if you were to experience a catastrophic leak in this particular device, it's not going to sink into your circuitry and ruin the rest of the vape. Very, very neat. That being said, I've experienced no leaking issues with the pods. My only issues are the pods can be a little difficult to fill. The very first time you fill it up when it's empty, brand spanking new, all clean, it's a breeze. Yeah, you can use a dropper, you can use needle fill, it doesn't matter. It works really, really well. But if you try to refill this while there's still a little bit of juice in there, it just kind of seems like the air that's trapped inside doesn't really have a way to get out because there's juice plugging up the other end of it. And so you'll put your juice in and most of it will actually just come out and down the sides. So definitely vape this thing pretty close to dry before you start trying to refill it. Or get yourself a needle fill bottle or a Chubby Gorilla style, something that you can really shove it in there. It runs a 360 milliamp hour battery, which is really sweet. It's got just a bit more battery life than a Juul, a little less than a Juno, the same as a Soarin' Drop. But even though the battery life isn't huge, it has a built-in charger, and it charges in like 20 minutes. It's pretty sweet. You just plug this straight into a block, bam, done. You can even use it while it's on a block, and I've joked about taking a portable battery pack, dropping this in there, and kind of making a mod out of it. That'd actually be kind of cool. My only gripe with it is it has zero indication of when the battery's dying. You will notice that you start to get wimpier hits out of it until it just flashes a couple times and then poops out. And then when you plug it into charge, it's got a little light right here. When you plug it into charge, the only way to know that it's done charging is just that the light turns off. I feel like they could have been a little more comprehensive with it, but like I said, this thing's really inexpensive, and that's pretty sweet. So whatever if they didn't put flashy colored LEDs in it. Overall, I really like this guy. It's got a lot more airflow. The flavor on it's pretty good for being pod-based. You're not getting all 5 cheeses on a 5-cheese pizza, but it still tastes nice. I'm calling it the poor man's Juul. Definitely worth checking out. Remember, it's the Rock by Boulder. As redundant as that sounds, it's actually pretty sweet.